Hi everyone, it's Miguel Cambrai. I'm with Growing Contigo, and we're going to have a presentation on the Seattle Labor and Employment Ordinances presented by Growing Contigo. So thanks for coming. Give it a couple seconds for people to come in and get online. But yeah, thanks for being here, and yeah, hopefully you can get a good amount of information from this presentation. All right, next slide. So who is Growing Contigo? We are a business consulting company who specializes in helping small businesses improve and grow within their businesses through trainings, consulting, and education. So we host a lot of Seattle public libraries. We work with the Office of Labor Standards, the Office of Economics. We also have contracts in um, so yeah, we're kind of all over basically. We also have a contract with the King County Public Health, with food trucks. So yeah, we have a lot of tools there to helping our community. All right, next slide. For our agenda today, we're going to be touching bases on the minimum wage, paid sick and safe time, secure scheduling, cannabis job employee retention, wage theft, and how these apply and enforced and challenge these. Next slide. So why does this all matters? Workers have the right to protect health, wages, and fair treatment. Businesses need to follow local rules to stay compliant, and we see this through all the time. A lot of businesses will, if you have a certain job, they'll be like, you maybe you deserve $20. I don't think you deserve the whole full minimum wage. So it's on the worker to kind of know their rights, know their minimum wage, know what they're promised, and enforce it, because a lot of times if you don't enforce it, if you don't kind of speak up, they won't come to the table. So it's very important that we let our community know that we have rights as workers, that we don't always have to get the bare minimum. We're entitled to a good way of life, and there's a reason why Seattle has one of the highest minimum wages in the United States. And it's on us to kind of make sure that companies comply with it. Next slide. So the minimum wage in Seattle, as of 2025, the minimum wage in Seattle is $20.76 an hour, and all businesses must pay this rate, no exceptions for tips and benefits. Next year, it goes up to $21.30 because it matches with inflation. So a lot of times, the last couple of years, the wages always kind of goes up every year, because living in Seattle, it's very expensive. To even own a car in Seattle, to rent, everything, food, everything's way more expensive when you live in the city. So I'm glad that Seattle's taking it on them to kind of know that inflation is a real thing, and people are really struggling. A lot of people are struggling right now when it comes to paying bills, child care, you name it. Everything's just very expensive right now. So luckily for us, people who live in Seattle, the minimum wage is kind of helping us make sure that we don't fall through the traps and through the cracks, and can make a living and can have a good way of living. So we're very fortunate to live in Seattle, where we're one of the highest minimum wages in the United States. Next slide. So, what's paid in sick safe time? So, as of Seattle, safe time and pay sick are two required that you are entitled to. You, as a worker in the city, you do deserve and you have the right to pay and sick time. So, all workers pay time off to recover from illness, go to medical appointments, care for a sick family member, deal with domestic violence or sexual assault. Time off starts adding as you work hourly or accrual, so you carry over unused time. So if you never use your sick pay, sick time, or safe time, and the new year follows through, you don't lose it. So I know some companies where if you have vacation, it doesn't carry over into the year. So I think luckily for workers who work in Seattle, um, it does carry over into the new year. So you don't have to worry about losing your pay time, pay sick or save time if you don't use it, because everyone always needs it in case you never know when an emergency is going to come up, especially if you have children or have to care for someone else. It's very important to have those those thresholds to keep you from losing wages and losing wages on your check. So it's very helpful. All right, next slide. So predictable scheduling, secure scheduling. So employers must give your schedule at least 2 weeks advance, pay extra if you change your shift last minute, offer extra hours to current workers before hiring new ones, and respect your need for rest between shifts. So, for example, we did violent domestic worker ordinance a couple of weeks ago, and one of the things with a nanny, so for example, if you work for a family and you work 5 days with them, and then we get off and they pass you on to a friend of theirs, so like, hey, we have a nanny, would you, that will be considered overtime. So you would be considered overtime if you still technically work, even though you're working for another family, they're still for giving you that pay overtime, since you already work your 5 hours, your 40 hours. So now you're entitled to receive overtime. Next slide. So wage theft and protections. Employees must pay you at all wages on time, provide you clear pay stubs with showing hours, rates, and hours and rates, and given written info about your job and pay when you are hired. You can file a complaint if you're not paid correctly. So that's a big one too. So when you start a new job, it's always very important to get a hiring letter or something in writing when they tell you how much you're going to get paid, what your schedule is going to look like. So when you start working, it's not a very big surprise if your wages are not what they told you they were. So it's always good to get that in writing, because you never know when an employer will try to cut your wage, or maybe tell you that they you it was a misunderstanding and this is what they're offering. So always try to get employees to write something in writing, because once it's in writing, you're entitled to your wage, and you can file a complaint. You can file a complaint and make sure that they do right by you. So it's always important to get it in writing, and employees must respect that, because it's their word and your word, and it's on writing, so they can't really we track that back. So, all right. Job protections for cannabis industry workers. So if a cannabis business changes ownership, workers must be given a chance to keep their jobs. New owners must keep their workers for at least 90 days unless there's a reason to let them go. So I know this was going along a lot when the whole cannabis industry kind of took off in 2012. There was a lot of smaller dispensary owners, market owners, and through the years, starting to become more of a monopoly. So a lot of bigger dispensaries, cannabis stores started kind of buying out smaller market stores, and that would change a lot in ownership, and a lot of workers would lose their jobs. They wouldn't know what kind of ownership was coming in, whether a lot of protocols were going to get changed. So there was a lot of unknowns when it comes to new ownership. So it's very important that cannabis workers do have this protections to keep their jobs, or at least giving them 90 days to find another job if they choose not to stay there. But it's very important because ownership changes a lot within the cannabis industry, and it's very important to know that you have these, instead of just telling yourself, oh, we have new ownership and they're getting rid of all the staff and they're bringing in their staff. So it's very important to know this as a cannabis owner, worker, because these are your rights, and you're entitled to these. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be new sales in cannabis stores, moving forward, because it's a very growing economic push for cannabis. So it's very important that the workers know that they can keep their jobs, because next slide. So what to do if your rights are violated? You can report anonymously to Seattle as a city office that investigates. You can't be punished for asking questions or filing complaints through the Seattle Office of Labor Standards. The email is on here and their phone number. and they're very great staff. They're very good. They're very passionate about helping workers. They've pushed a lot of ordinances and helped a lot of workers gain lost wages. I know a couple this year Uber had to pay over, I want to say, like $10 million for bad pay wages that they didn't give to their drivers, and that was a big push by the Office of Labor Standards. So that was a big win for them, and that just kind of shows the kind of work that they do in Seattle area. So it's very important to know them. If you're a worker who's kind of always dealing with employers or always kind of take advantage or shortchange them, it's very important to kind of know the Seattle Office of Labor Standards, because they're very great people and they will have your back and they will support you as much as they can. And it's very good to have that kind of connection and network with um, government agencies that are there in place just to help out and move forward with helping out workers. Next slide. Oh. And for example, so for Growing Contigo right now, we have a technical assistance. We're Growing Contigo. So if we're offering technical assistance available for workers affected by the Office of Labor Standards, if your workplace impacted by labor-related issues, we are here to support you. We now offer free technical assistance TA for workers experiencing challenges related to wage theft, paid sick leave, fair scheduling, other workplace rights enforced by the Office of Labor Standards. Our team can help you with understanding your rights, navigating your complaints process, filing with LOS, connecting to legal and advocacy resources as well. Our services are confidential and provide at no cost. Please reach out to us and you'll learn more if you want any more gate assistance. And we also offer, it doesn't specifically actually just have to be these specific topics, but we also offer, app-based workers, domestic workers, anything like if you want to grow your business, help expand your business, we can help give you technical assistance for that as well. So feel free to scan our QR code. That will take you to our application page, and you can just fill out the application, and one of our team members will get back to you. Next slide. All right. Well, it was kind of short, but thanks for reaching out. This is our LOS page QR code. Feel free to scan it, go on our page, kind of see what we got going on. We have a lot of markets coming up. We have Dia de los Muertos on November 1st at the CTEC Community Center, which is going to be a big event. We're going to have 6 food vendors, over 25 resource and vendors at our market. So if you have a chance to be there on November 1st at the CTEC Community Center, it will be a great fiesta. So if you have a chance to do that, please feel free to join. Is there any questions or? Okay, well, thanks a lot for showing up. Thanks for being here. And my name is Miguel Cabe, and if you have any questions, please feel free to. Yeah, so this is our QR code. If you have a QR code, you can follow our QR code and you can get a llamada con Growing Contigo. All right, thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.